Sophists. The word sophists means wise and informed. They were a group of philosophers who flocked to Athens and made their living by teaching the citizens. Sophists were teachers of rhetoric and logic. However, they are famously known for their work on humanism, in which they greatly emphasized on man's place. We can see that various philosophers tried in their period to explain about what everything is made up of. Like for Thales it was water, for Heraclitus it was fire, and for some it's becoming. But in the end the question was, what is the truth? Therefore, to end the confusion, they concluded that nothing is true, rather believing makes something true, and if you can convince someone through effective communication, it would be true. So there is no absolute truth, but many. They also face criticism like clever but false arguments, etc. To some we can see their major work, which led to the development of psychology. There was a shift towards epistemological questions. Research, rhetoric, art of speaking is of great importance in today's world, as it is used in various fields like advertising and marketing for persuading individuals. They talked about humanism that led to the development of critical thinking, which was adapted by Socrates. In a nutshell, they provided some ideas which were bogus, but they also initiated some wonderful ideas which paved the way of psychology. Protagoras. 4904-20 BC was a pre-Socratic Greek philosopher from Abdera in Thrace, and one of the most influential sophists of his time. He is often credited as the first professional sophist. Protagoras is best known for his relativistic and agnostic philosophical views. The main work attributed to Protagoras is The Truth, also known as On Truth, in which he introduced his famous statement, that is, man is the measure of all things. This statement is interpreted to mean that truth and knowledge are subjective and vary according to individual perception. In other words, there is no absolute truth. What is true for one person might not be true for another. Relativism. Protagoras argued that truth depends subjectivity on the observer, emphasizing the of human experience. For example, a breeze may feel cold to one person and warm to another, and both perceptions are equally valid. Criticism. Protagoras faced criticism from philosophers like Plato, who associated sophists with moral relativism and intellectual dishonesty. In Theaetetus, Plato critiques Protagoras' relativism, arguing that it undermines the possibility of objective knowledge. Significance. Protagoras stands as a critical figure in ancient Greek thought on relativism. His work laid the foundation for debates of truth that continue to resonate in contemporary philosophy.
Gorgias, a 5th century BCE pre-Socratic sophist, philosopher and rhetorician, made significant contributions to philosophy and rhetoric, influencing themes relevant to psychology, particularly in perception, persuasion, and human experience. Argued that reality is subjective, as individuals perceive the world differently, anticipating psychological studies on sensory interpretation and cognition, highlighted the profound influence of rhetoric on emotions and beliefs, foreshadowing modern research on communication's role in shaping behavior. Famous for his work on non-existence, proposing that nothing exists, knowledge is unattainable, and communication is inherently flawed, asserted that speech could manipulate emotions, aligning with modern studies on emotional regulation and persuasion. Plato and Aristotle criticized Gorgias for promoting relativism and prioritizing persuasion over truth, accusing him of using rhetoric for manipulation rather than virtuous purposes. Gorgias is regarded as a founder of rhetorical studies, influencing techniques such as parallelism, antithesis, and vivid imagery. He played a key role in the movement, emphasizing rhetoric as a practical skill for navigating social and political life.
Xenophanes. This passage delves into the philosophical contributions of Xenophanes, a pre-Socratic thinker who questioned traditional religious beliefs and introduced profound ideas on the nature of gods, truth, and human perception. Xenophanes' critique of religion, human like gods. Xenophanes observed that the Olympian gods resembled humans, not only in appearance but also in their immoral behaviors, such as lying, stealing, and adultery, as depicted by Homer. Cultural projection of gods. He noted that people create gods in their own image, influenced by their physical characteristics and cultural contexts. For instance, dark-skinned people envision dark-skinned gods, while light-skinned people imagine light-skinned gods. He humorously extended this idea to animals. Philosophical contributions of Xenophanes. Religion and morality. Claimed religion and moral codes are human inventions, not divine revelations. Supreme God proposed a singular, omnipotent, changeless God, distinct from anthropomorphic deities, exerting power through thought. Skepticism questioned absolute truth, influencing debates on relativism and universal truth. Xenophanes questioned traditional systems and laid the foundation for exploring the nature of truth, religion, and morality. Socrates. Life and death. Born in Athens to a stonemason and midwife, Socrates fought in the Peloponnesian War before dedicating his life to philosophy. In 399 BCE, he was tried and executed for impiety and corrupting the youth, profoundly impacting his students, including Plato and Xenophon. Philosophy and methods. Socrates focused on ethics, knowledge, and the human condition, employing the Socratic method, questioning, encouraging critical thinking through probing questions, dialogue, exploring ideas via discussions, irony, challenging assumptions with wit, and self-deprecation. Know thyself, the value of self-awareness and introspection. Key points. Virtue is knowledge. Right action stems from understanding. The unexamined life is not worth living. Reflection is essential for fulfillment. Legacy. Socrates shaped Western philosophy, influencing Plato's Academy and his theory of forms, Aristotle's Lyceum, and causality. Western ethics, emphasizing virtue and critical thought. Cultural impact. Socrates appears in Plato's dialogues, Aristophanes' The Clouds, and films like Socrates 1971, inspiring ongoing philosophical inquiry and education. Plato. Background. Born into an aristocratic family in Athens, Plato's privileged upbringing provided access to exceptional education and intellectual circle. His encounter with Socrates redirected his ambitions from politics to philosophy, profoundly influencing his worldview. Philosophical journey. After Socrates' death, Plato went into self-imposed exile in southern Italy. Returning to Athens, he founded the Academy, blending Socratic methods with Pythagorean ideas. He encouraged critical thinking and explored themes like justice and the soul, famously stating, "I don't know," as the first step to learning. Key contributions. The Republic explores justice, philosopher kings, the allegory of the cave, and the theory of forms. Theory of forms proposes that material objects are imperfect copies of pure abstract forms. Tripartite mind describes the mind's three parts: logistikon reason, thumos spirit, and epithumedikon desire. Life of fulfillment advocates critical thinking, self-improvement through love, appreciation of beauty, and societal reform. Allegory of the cave illustrates the philosopher's role in guiding society toward truth and justice. Analogy of the divided line defines four levels of understanding, culminating in the form of the good. Legacy, foundation for Western philosophy, while critiqued as a rationalist, nativist, and idealist. His ideas continue to shape debates in philosophy, politics, and education. Aristotle. Early life and education. Born in Stagira to a noble family, Aristotle's father, a court physician, died young. At 17, he joined Plato's Academy in Athens, where he studied until Plato's death. Parting ways. Philosophically, he became tutor to Alexander the Great before founding his school, the Lyceum, at age 48. Philosophy and key contributions. Aristotle's philosophy focused on practical wisdom and empirical observation. His major ideas include happiness and virtue. True happiness comes from nurturing virtue's balance between two extremes. Aristotle's 11 virtues include courage, temperance, patience, truthfulness, and modesty. Purpose of art. Art purifies emotions, catharsis, and redirects empathy toward those who need it. Friendship. Define three types of friendships: for pleasure, for advantage, true friendship, where care is mutual and selfless. Rhetoric. Developed rhetoric to make arguments persuasive by addressing emotions and fears. For causes. To understand anything, examine its material, formal, efficient, and final causes. This reflects teleology, the idea that everything has a purpose, and teleiche, hierarchy of souls. Vegetative soul plants, growth and reproduction. Sensitive soul animals, feelings and memory. Rational soul humans, reasoning and logic. Legacy. While Aristotle made errors, for example assigning thought to the heart and cooling blood to the brain, his emphasis on observation advanced Greek philosophy and science, making his work foundational for Western thought.